Welcome to New York City on this week's episode of Vegetarian Elite. Today we have the pleasure of spending time with Simone Reyes, animal lover, vegan fashionista, and activist extraordinaire.
Hi, I'm Simone Reyes and you're watching Supreme Master Television.
Yes. Because that's obviously what we want.
Are you guys on Twitter? Well, I'm on call 24/7, so I sleep with my BlackBerry on my pillow. He's called Russell Rush Communications, because he's always rushing to the next thing. You know, I've sort of done it long enough that I kind of know how to make it all happen.
For over 25 years, Simone Reyes has been the executive assistant to Russell Simmons, witnessing his rise to become the legendary multi-millionaire co-founder of Def Jam Records and creator of Fat Farm fashion label. He has been named by Forbes magazine as one of Hollywood's most influential celebrities. USA Today calls him the top 25 most influential people of the past 25 years. And People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, or PETA, recently honored him as 2011 Person of the Year. Despite his name and fame, Russell affectionately refers to Simone as "my boss."
I'm the longest female relationship in his life, by the way. I've outlived them all.
In November of 2010, Simone Reyes became more widely known outside of the entertainment industry with the debut of the reality television series Running Russell Simmons, in which she played a starring role. Simone shares with us why this project was chosen.
Russell's been courted for quite a while to do a reality show. But then when Oxygen approached him and they said, you know what, we're not going to make this show about you. We're going to make it about the women behind you. So the concept, like the tagline was, behind every great man, there's a great woman. Behind every great mogul, there are many great women. So he agreed to do it, and then he kind of just, let us get in what was important to us. And I really had no reason to want to be on a reality show other than to support my boss. But I just told him, I said, if you want me on the show, which I'm happy to do, I said, be warned, every time the camera's on me, I'm going to find a way to use the word vegan, and I'm going to try to show my activism. And Russell Simmons is such a friend to the animals that he went along with it.
I remember seeing some photos of you with a human meat package to raise awareness for meat is murder.
It was definitely one of the, the highlights of the season. And it was all over the world, these pictures, because they were so graphic and so disturbing. Even though we were alive human beings covered in paint, it resonated with people and they sort of turned away. And I thought, well, great, maybe they will actually make the connection, As soon as the show started airing, I immediately started getting tweets from all over the world. Brazil, London, Turkey. Tell me the difference between vegan and vegetarian. Why is it that eating meat is wrong? I still have people that watch the show when it was on that say, I'm still doing it, I'm still going strong, and I credit you and I credit Uncle Rush for doing that. And I'm like, wow. Nothing else makes my day more than waking up in the morning and seeing people that, watched a show that was basically for entertainment.
Those who know Simone know that she never stops in her passionate work for the animals, a facet of her life she has boldly included even in her professional sphere. And her boss, Russell Simmons, an animal activist himself, respects her for it.
I was put on this planet to help animals. I know that. And the moment that I sort of had that light go off, it gave me a reason to wake up every morning, no matter what else was going on in my personal life. My office used to be a bit scary. I would have, fur coats that people had donated, just dripping in blood. I'd have, black and white, really, really scary images of animals being led to slaughter. And then I'd have chickens, upside down, right before they're going to be put into the scalding water. He would have to come into my office every day and just be like, Simone, what are you doing? This is an office. And I'm like, I have to. It's just my calling. It's like, okay. Then he started doing yoga at Jivamukti. Sharon Gannon, David Life. They run an animal rights yoga center. Between me at the office and then them on his private time, suddenly it just spoke to him that he needed to change the way he ate and the way that he lived.
In fact, Russell Simmons credits Simone as one of his inspirations in becoming vegan. With all the glitz and excitement being a part of his growing entertainment empire, Simone tells us what is most gratifying in working with Russell.
The biggest transformation, other than the fact that he went from somebody who grew up, middle class or lower middle class in Hollis, Queens, to, a multimillionaire, the godfather of hip hop. That hasn't been nearly as exciting as watching his personal evolution. If you look at pictures of Russell 20 years ago, he looks 50 years older than he looks now. He gets up every morning, he meditates for 2 hours, he does yoga for every day, at least 2 hours a day. And just seeing him, go from somebody who was sort of all about making money, making celebrities, hit records, to sort of sitting quietly in that own space of having everything that he's ever dreamed of, and all of a sudden realizing that it was his responsibility and his greatest desire to give it back. Russell's always said that on his tombstone, he really just wants it to say philanthropist. So it's amazing to work for him and to be able to be on this ride with him. The fact that he's a vegan, the fact that he immediately went and did PSAs against dogfighting, things like that, just makes me so, I just look at him and I just love him so much.
So let's take an ordinary day. What is your day like from the time you get up till the time you actually get to finish the day?
Well, right now I have 2 pigeons in my apartment. One has a broken leg and one has a broken arm. So the first thing I do when I wake up is have to medicate them, give them painkillers, change their water, their food, change the paper and all of that. I'm really hoping to release them within the next 2 weeks, which would be a blessing. Then I have a dog that has dementia, pretty bad. So I have to stand him up in order to go to the bathroom and remind him who he is and where he is and that he's loved and that he's sheltered. And then, usually try to get a bike ride around Prospect Park Inn if I can in Brooklyn. Go to work, concentrate on Russell all day long, go take a dance class after work, and then back home to my babies. I, at this point, only adopt special needs. They're certainly the first ones to be put down at animal shelters. They're never going to be exactly like other dogs or cats. However, they deserve just as much of a life, and you just need to have more patience with them. But the rewards are so great. I encourage everybody to please stop buying designer dogs, stop going into pet shops, stop breeding your own animals. Enough already. I put a quote on Twitter and it sort of went all around the internet. I said, every time that you breed your animal or go to a pet shop, you have a trigger pointed right at an animal in a shelter. It's an ugly truth, but it is the truth.
Before she even knew what animal activism was, Simone remembers her first job at age 10 in a veterinary office that was against declawing for cats. A lifelong lover of animals, Simone pairs her strong ideals with being vegan for almost 2 decades.
There's no difference between the dog that I would take a bullet for, that was sleeping in bed with me every night, and the cow that's just waiting for somebody to help them, or the chicken that's not protected under any humane laws whatsoever in the way that they're slaughtered. So yeah, I started out being vegetarian, but it was very quickly that I went to being vegan, and not just as a diet choice, but as a lifestyle choice. And so I don't think that there's any way that you can call yourself vegan without at least considering what you're wearing and considering where you put your money. It's changed my life. I'm such a happier person, and I think that it's all connected, because I always remind people, when you're eating meat, the way that the animals were raised, the way in which they're slaughtered, there's energy. We're all energy. You are literally ingesting fear, pain, suffering. You have to consider not just the physical things that come with eating meat, which we know are the high cholesterol and the heart disease and all of that stuff. But you also have to look at what it means to you on a vibrational level. I feel so blessed to be able to go to like the Woodstock Animal Sanctuary or to Farm Sanctuary and be able to look in the eyes of a cow, or to pick up a chicken, or to, give a pig a belly rub, and be able to truly say, I'm your friend, and that's because I don't eat you. And that gift is worth everything to me.
Simone believes that animals have a spiritual connectedness that even people sometimes lack.
They're speaking to each other on a much higher spiritual level. Animals are, they have empathy. They are able to sense what is wrong with you. I mean, obviously we see that even with service dogs that can predict when somebody's going to have a seizure or something like that. It's because they're so connected. So yeah, being able to look at an animal and know that, I'm not eating them. I believe that they can actually look at me and be like, this is a friend. This is a true friend.
For someone aspiring to follow the same lifestyle, would you have any recommendations?
Honestly, I would say go to, it's called www.meatvideo.com. My friends at Mercy for Animals did it. I challenge anyone to watch that. If you can go into the supermarket and find a neatly packaged slab of meat, be brave enough to see where that came from. Be brave enough to watch how they live. Be brave enough to watch how they die. And a lot of people close their eyes, they can't look. Well, if you can eat it, you better look at it. It's only fair.
At the end of November, Supreme Master Television caught up with Simone Reyes at a meeting for the Occupy movement in New York City. The topic at hand was animal rights and how veganism relates to social justice.
Russell, as you know, is a huge vegan and animal rights activist. I've been an animal rights activist and vegan way before he was. And every time I help him coordinate things, I always hope that the animals will be able to be on for this ride, because I think we all know that something amazing is happening here, and we just don't want the animals left behind.
The Declaration and Manifesto of the Occupy Wall Street movement lists among injustices: they have profited off the torture, confinement, and cruel treatment of countless animals and actively hide these practices. An activist at heart, Simone dedicates her time to ensure that the movement also includes veganism.
For a lot of people that consider themselves, really educated about world hunger and the plight of the planet, and where, how we have so many homeless people and hungry children in this country, and how so much of that can be remedied simply by going vegan or even vegetarian. We just want, we don't want there to be any, questions in where this movement's going in terms of hypocrisy. We all know that the vegetarian, certainly the vegan way, even better, way is the way to heal the world. And so we just want to be able to, have that, obviously, at least a seed in the movement.
What are your current and near future projects? Like, what are you working on right now?
Well, Russell definitely wants to do another TV show. And I've just been doing a lot of blogging now for One Green Planet. I also blog for Global Grind, which is Russell's website, which is a huge audience, both of them. I just did a blog on GMOs and how we need to relate that to the animal rights community. A lot of people don't realize that if you are eating a GMO food, that chances are it could A, have fish in it, which is sort of shocking and horrifying, but that is directly linked to vivisection, to animals in laboratories, which we do not believe in animal research at all for any reason. How horrible is it to think that, that apple you're biting into was, genetically modified and tested on an animal where they will suffer their whole lives until they're killed.
For Simone's help and loving heart, in December 2011, PETA dedicated the naming of a retirement home for elderly and injured bulls in India's Maharashtra state after her. Simone's place also cares for other rescued animals such as dogs, donkeys, monkeys, and camels.
Animal rights activists, for the most part, our hearts are in pain every day. You burn out from the day-to-day activism of it, but you never, ever get calloused in your heart to the suffering. I have to be able to believe that there's a higher governing force that put me, a very sensitive person, to animal suffering in this position where I have to be reminded of it every day and be, sort of brought down by it every day in order to get back up again. Knowing that and seeing and feeling the shift that's happening in the universe right now that tells me that it will be illegal to eat animals one day. I know that day is coming. I know it's coming. And just believing in that sort of carries you through the heartache.
Our gratitude to Miss Simone Reyes for being a devoted guardian angel for our beautiful animal co-inhabitants. Your courage and grace have deeply moved us, much like they have moved the world to action.
I am Simone Reyes, World Vegan, World Peace.
Say hi and keep up to date with the incredible Simone Reyes and learn about animal welfare at twitter.com/Simone Reyes. Shining viewers, it was a joy to have your company today on Vegetarian Elite. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television for Between Master and Disciples coming up next. May heaven's light continue to illuminate your path.
For more details, please visit www.suprememastertv.com/VE